Hey everybody, welcome back to class and welcome to Midterms Week. In this video, I am going to explain to you how your midterm project is going to work. This is a recording project. This project, it's just you capturing live audio and creating a song from that. So I want to go over the directions for this project with you, and then after that, I want to just show you a little bit in the Pro Tools session some things that I think will help you as you're completing it. So I'm going to share my screen, and here we have the directions for this assignment. So for this recording project, you will be writing and recording your own original song, your own song. You may create any kind of song you want to from any kind of genre. So it's definitely wide open. I want you to create something and have it be like your own song. Pretend that you're like a performer or an artist, or you're somebody that really enjoys creating music. Hopefully you are that person. I mean, that's why you're involved with this class and this subject. I know that some of you might lean more towards the technical aspects of creating music or recording music, and your goal might be not to necessarily create, but you just want to be able to record and capture the sound. But your ability to create music in either one of those senses is going to make you more valuable to whoever you're working with. So it's good to exercise that muscle. So create a song, you get to pick what kind of song, and it gets to be a genre that you like and you're familiar with. Now keep in mind, as you're creating this song, you will not be graded on your skills as a composer or songwriter or a performer. So you might be performing the instrument and your performance of that instrument might not be perfect. That's okay. That is okay. You know, and you might have wrote a song, but hey, maybe it's not the best song in the world, but you wrote something, and that's fine. What you're going to be graded on is your ability to capture the sound, to record those live instruments, and to produce something that sounds like a song. So you don't have to worry about you know, being totally perfect with this project in the aspect of your recording performances and how you write the song. Just write something, whatever you want to write. But with that, here's the requirements, the recording requirements. I do want it to have a vocal track, and it could even have 2 vocal tracks if you want. So 1 to 2 vocal tracks, maybe a lead vocal and then a background vocal, something to harmonize and complement the lead vocal. 3 to 5 mono tracks. You've already done some mono recording by this point, so that's just with 1 microphone. And then 3 to 5 stereo tracks. So should you have 3 or 5, that's up to you. This is the part where it's creative. If 3 tracks is enough to get you by on the song, that's fine. But if you want to add more than that for whatever reason, you certainly could. Also add a master fader track. Anytime you work in Pro Tools and create a session, you always want to have a master fader track, because that controls the volume level of the whole session with that one fader. So make sure to have that in there. But additionally, I want you to include 1 instrument track for MIDI drums. So I want you to basically create a drum loop that could be looped throughout this entire thing. And I'm going to show you how to do that in just a second right here in this video. So yeah, so for your mono and stereo tracks, you can choose the instrumentation. You know, you can choose guitar, bass, keyboards, brass, woodwind, percussion. You know, choose whatever instruments you have around your house or your recording studio. Choose instruments that you know how to play. That would probably be helpful. If you want to talk to friends and family and get them involved in this and have somebody else come in and you record them playing an instrument, that's totally fine. You could do that. Keep in mind that the vocal track is kind of like the focus. So it's like you're writing a real song with a vocal line on it. If you want to sing that vocal track, you can, and that would be fine. If you want to ask a friend to sing that for you or someone you know, you can do that as well. And if you don't feel like you're a great singer and the idea of recording your own vocal track is kind of scary, just welcome to the club. That's me too. I feel that way a lot. I like to sing. I'm not a great singer. I do it sometimes. I'd rather have somebody else do it if they're here to do it. But remember, you're not going to be graded on the quality of your voice or the quality of the song or the quality of the performance of the instruments. You're just being graded on completing this assignment and how you record these instruments. So that's what you need to remind yourself. So make a great great produced recording and you'll be fine for this. Some other parameters of this assignment is I want it to be 2 to 3 minutes long in length, and I want it to have 2 contrasting parts. A lot of times new songwriters, they'll come up with an idea and they'll just, sometimes what they do is this, they just repeat that idea over and over and over for 5 minutes, and that works. Sometimes the best songs have been that way, so there's nothing wrong with that. But another option is to have a contrasting section in the song, something to change to, so that you have that first idea, but then at some point it changes to a second idea. And that's what I want to ask you to do. So for each instrument track, there should be 2 separate ideas recorded, one right after the next. In songwriting, song form types, we use the terms A, B, A, an A section of the song, which is this idea, a B section of the song, which is that idea, and then another A section of the song, which is this other idea. And so I want you to try and follow that. Use copy and paste, and I'm going to show you how to do that. If you've never done that in Pro Tools, you can copy clips and paste them later on in your session. So you create those 2 sessions, and after you finish that B section, just go back to your first A section, highlight the whole thing, all the tracks on it, just select them all. Use Shift, push Shift when you're clicking on them to select them all, and that will allow you to select more than one track. Then copy, Command C, and then go to right after the second idea, the B section, put insert the selector right there, so it's blinking right there, and then push Command V, and then you will paste all your first ideas right after your second ideas. So it'll be first idea, second idea, first idea. And when you do that, suddenly your song is 2 to 3 minutes long. It's just like magic, because it's okay to repeat ideas, and repetition is great, especially if there's a contrast to that repetition to, give us something else to focus on for a while. So anyway, those are the parameters of this assignment, this project. In addition, there are some basic mixing requirements, and I say basic because I just want you to start thinking about this. I mean, you go to all this work to record it, and then you want it to sound good. So in your mix window, I want you to do some basic editing, which is this. You see these faders right here? I want you to adjust them up and down for each track and make something that sounds good volume-wise. So how can they complement each other the best? For example, the vocal is probably the most important thing in the song. It should probably be the loudest thing in the song. The bass and guitars, they're probably kind of accompanying that, so we want to pull their faders down a little more. But between the bass and the rhythm guitar, what should be louder? Or should they be the same volume? And then you go to the piano and the tambourine. Last of all, the drums. How loud do you want the drums to be in the track? Basic mixing. I just want you to find a volume level that will allow all the instruments to be heard, but also give a focus to what you consider to be the most important instruments that need to be heard. The second thing of basic mixing is these panning knobs up here, these circles. If you click on them and go up or down, you'll see that it moves like a dial or like a clock face. So right now I have this fader right here. It's pointed to about 10 o'clock. If this was a clock face, that would be 10. Now it's at about 9 o'clock. So they always default to 12 o'clock, and that's just straight center. That's a good place to keep your lead vocal, but everything else should be in its own spot. So as you go through your session, do some basic mixing and make sure that your instruments are not on top of each other, but that they all have their own spot in the mix. And I'm just kind of arbitrarily moving them right now. These are the stereo tracks. That's why there's 2 knobs on them. That's also why there's 2 meters here. And the stereo tracks, they're double what the mono tracks are. Okay, so some basic mixing, and there you go. Okay, after you've done that basic mixing, it's time to bounce your mix. And I'm going to show you how to do that in just a second. Bouncing your mix is how you get the audio file out of Pro Tools, like an MP3 file or an AIFF file or a WAV file. So you can choose what kind of file you want. But in other words, you don't want to have to open up Pro Tools every time you listen to your song. You want to listen to it in iTunes or Spotify. So eventually you have to get what's in Pro Tools out of Pro Tools, and that's called bouncing. And I'll show you that in just a second. And after you do that, you need to upload your project. So upload the Pro Tools session by zipping it and all its folders and all the audio clips in the folders. Don't forget to make sure those audio clips are in there. upload it to the module for this week. And then after that, upload the MP3 file that you bounced. I guess I'm asking for an MP3 file for this assignment, but yeah, take that file and upload that into the module as well. And once you have the MP3 file and the zipped Pro Tools session uploaded, you have submitted and you're done. Okay, so let's go back into this Pro Tools session here. And here is my edit window. I've already created the tracks that I'm planning to work on. So here's a lead vocal. Here's my 3 mono tracks underneath that. I could do more if I want, but here's 3. I've decided to have bass be mono, rhythm guitar is a mono, lead guitar. And then once we hit acoustic guitar, that's where my stereo tracks start. And you can tell because there's 2 meters right here. Right here, there's just 1 meter. So these are all the stereo tracks. So acoustic guitar, piano, and a tambourine. So I'm planning on recording that tambourine live with a microphone in front of the tambourine as I shake it, which is fine. That's a percussion instrument. But you know, some of your tracks can be percussion instruments if you want. And then here is that MIDI drums track at the bottom. The colors let you know that things are different. And remember, when you're creating this MIDI drums, it is MIDI drums, but you choose an instrument track, not the MIDI track. Choose the instrument track. Let me show you what I mean. Here's where you go to create a new track. And whenever we work with MIDI, we go through this list and we think, oh, I'm creating a MIDI track. I better select MIDI track. But when you do that, that actually means an external MIDI device. So the keyboard that's hooked up to your system, that's what that track is for. So if you want to use your internal MIDI instruments, you need an instrument track. And so by using instrument track, that's actually what you're going to use for all the MIDI that's inside your program with the plugins that you want to use. So anyway, I already did that. So here's my drums. So let's go back to the edit window or the mix window. So here's my drums track in the mix window. I'm going to come here to the top and I already have boom selected. I already put it on a second ago, but here, you just click on that top plugin and then go down to the instrument side and select instrument. And right at the top is an instrument called boom. And what boom is it's a drum box or a drum machine. So it automatically generates a drum beat. And I just barely opened it up and I'm just gonna push play and watch what happens when I push play. It's just already got a drum beat there ready to go. If I wanted to, I could just use that and call it good, but I want to be creative with this. I want to make sure I get the right beat that's going to fit my song. So first of all, I'm going to audition the drum kits here, and there's a list. I have electro, but I'm going to click on Urban 1, and I'm going to see what an Urban 1 drum kit sounds like. Ooh, I hear some deep rumbling going on there. I like that. Here's Urban 2. Urban 2 is pretty similar to Urban 1, right? Here's Dance 1. So I have all these different types of drum kits that have a different sound to them. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep it right there. Now that's going to define my drum sound that I'm going to be using for this. In addition, I can come up here to the factory presets and scroll through these lists, and you should do this as well. The top list has all these things I can try, and these are different grooves. So I have my drum sound. Now I can change the groove of it. Let's try Dirty Bell and see what that sounds like. All right, that's okay. Let's try another one. Here's one called Blaze of Glory. Honestly, I don't really like that one. But I'm just going to come back here and I'm going to go back to Dance 2. I think I like the way Dance 2 sounded. Yeah, that's a pretty cool drum kit sound right there, right? But the groove of it's wrong. I like the sound, but now I want to change the groove. So look right up here at this grid. You see this grid here with all these dots? On the left side of it, it says the different parts of a drum set: kick, snare, ram, clap, closed hi-hat. Anyway, these are the different sounds. By clicking on these dots, you can change when different things sounded. So for example, that closed hi-hat, let's put it on 8th notes. And if you can read music in 4/4 time, you know, the subdivisions there go 4 quarter notes, 8 eighth notes, 6 16th notes. If we count all these dots that I'm putting in right now, there would be 16 of them representing the 16th notes of one measure. So let's see what that sounds like. Now I have 16th notes going on the hi-hats. Oh yeah, that sounds pretty good. I like that. But I think I want a crash cymbal. Let's start with a crash cymbal right on the downbeat. And let's see what that sounds like. Let me add another crash. Okay, the crashes are good, but they're too loud. So what happens is you can click on those red dots again, and it's dimmer when you do that, which means it's gonna sound softer. So I'm gonna click on it twice, and now it's almost not there, and the first crash is gonna sound really soft, and the second one's gonna sound louder. All right, well, that's great. So I think I have found my drum groove that I like. So that's the one that I want to work with. So that is set up in the Boom now. And so now I can close Boom and I can open the MIDI editor window. And to do that, you want to come up here to the window menu right at the top of the screen where it says window, click on it and scroll down, and then go to where it says MIDI editor and just click on it. And then you get this. First of all, just come over here and click on the keyboard, like click on it with your mouse, just click on the keys. And when you do that, you start to hear different sounds. Some of the keys don't make sounds, some of them do. So you just have to try them and see which ones do. But the one you want to find is middle C. So this one I'm hovering over right now is middle C. If I click and hold, it plays the groove that I just programmed into Boom. All I have to do is click and hold. So the cool thing about that is the groove is there, so it will play the whole groove and you don't have to like write it out with a bunch of little MIDI notes. You can just write one big long one like this. Notice I have the pencil, and you have to get the pencil up here at the top. This pencil allows you to draw MIDI ticks into the MIDI editor window. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to go right on this middle C note. I'm going to click and drag to the right. And as I do that, you see it creates a long line. And yeah, so I'm going to make that about 1, 2, 3. That's 3 bars long. I'm going to drag it 1 more bar, so it's 4 bars long. So now I can push play, and now my song will play my beat. Oh, it didn't play, and something weird happened. Now watch this. You can click on them and drag them up and down, right? Well, some of the notes don't have a drum sound. For example, this B note right here does not have a drum sound, and as I was creating that, I accidentally drug it down. So I need to put it up where C is, because C is where that beat is, this middle C right here. So now it's there. So now if I push play, I can hear my drum beat. My drum beat is playing. All right, so anyway, that's what you need to do to create your MIDI drums for this project. Just draw one long straight line, just like that, and then that's what you're going to be working with. Okay, so right here you see my MIDI clip. I just created it in the MIDI editor window, and here it is in the edit window. I think I'm going to drag it clear over here. I'm going to switch into grid mode. Now watch what happens when you right click on it. You can right click and you have this thing that's called loop. And you click on loop and it's going to ask you, how many times do you want this clip to loop? And I'm going to say I want it to loop 8 times. So I've got an 8 there. I push OK, and when I'm done, the clip loops 8 times. But I have a problem. You see this space in between these marks? That means there's some silence in there. And as my drum clip plays, it's going to stop playing right there and then start again. So that's kind of a sign that I messed up a little bit when I was writing it out, and I should have drug the line out a little further. But anyway, be that as it may, this is what you need to do. Create one line, drag it out like this. You can loop it, And then you're going to record all your other tracks on top of it. And then at the end of that, by bar, whatever this is, it's like bar 35, you're going to have your A section complete. So you complete that A section, then starting at bar 35, you're going to go and you're going to write a B section, and that's going to take you to, I don't know, to bar 105 or something. So your B section is here, and after you're at the B section, you're like, okay, time to copy and paste. Now I can put that A section right after my B section, and I'm going to have a song that goes A, B, A in form structure. So you can then highlight all the clips, and I would just kind of drag upwards like this to highlight all the clips. I don't have other clips there right now, but you will when you're doing this. Highlight them all, push Command C on your Mac. I think on a PC it's Control C, and then come later on in the session and push Command V. Command V, and when you do that, it's gonna copy and it's gonna paste your clips. So anyway, that's what I mean by ABA, and anyway, that's, yeah, try to make your song be 2 to 3 minutes long and have 2 different sections in it, 2 different parts. All right, one more thing at the end. At the end, I want you to bounce your mix. So you created all your song, you worked hard. So to bounce your mix, you need to come up here to File, and you go to File, and then you scroll down here to Bounce Mix. See where it says Bounce Mix? When you do that, you're going to have this menu come up. First of all, it's going to ask you what to name your project. A lot of you may have an actual name for your song. If you do, this would be the place to put that. If you just want to call it Midterm Project and then maybe put your name after it, that would be fine too, because then I'll know it's definitely yours. So you do that, but right underneath that, look, you can specify what kind of file. Do you want a WAV file? Do you want an MP3 file? As I said in the instructions, let's just do an MP3 file for this assignment. So we're looking for MP3s. And then right here, you can decide where this MP3 file is going to save. And you could come on your desktop and you can select a folder or anything you want, but you can specifically save it. So once you get all those parameters decided, then click the bounce button. And then it will open up one more window, an MP3 window, where it's once again going to ask you to give your song a title. And right there, you could give your song a title again. Other than that, you don't need to change anything in this window. And then just push OK. And when you push OK, it's going to bounce it down, and it's going to export this MP3 file to wherever you specified it should be. So anyway, that's how you bounce your song once your song is finished. And that's what I hope you'll do for this midterm project. So please reach out with any questions that you have and let me know about it. But good luck writing this. And don't forget to upload it when you're done and zip the file first. And then you'll have 2 things upload, a zipped file and the MP3 file, which should upload pretty easily because MP3 files are pretty small. So you shouldn't have to zip that, I don't think, depending on how big it is. Maybe you will have to, but anyway, have those 2 things and upload those into your file when you're done. All right, thanks guys. I'll see you later.